Hey friends. Um so I have been sitting with the question that I asked in my post yesterday, and also reflecting on the kind of what to me yesterday was kind of a almost like a happy accident discovery of gratitude as a reframing device, as a way of, it's almost like when you need to like go unplug the modem and plug it back in because the internet's not working. Gratitude is like that. Gratitude is like that strategy that just gives the system a reset and puts it back in alignment with with reality. It's probably not the best metaphor, but it came to me in the moment. But something, so this morning something showed up again, and I had this interesting kind of sort of next step insight, um, from where I was yesterday. Because yesterday, basically, I was kind of wrestling with an energy low and a sense of my emotions kind of having destabilized me a bit, and feeling like my ego sort of all of a sudden had more gravitational pull than usual. It's a part of myself. We all know we have an ego, right? We all, and if we've done any degree of inner work or meditation, or building some space, giving ourselves a bit of distance from our ego, then we little by little start to kind of identify the features of it. We start to know ourselves. But I was feeling like my ego had an extra heavy gravitational pull yesterday, and that kind of continued even into today. And I had this question come up: why do I feel like I can? I almost had the experience of feeling like I'm off track in my spiritual journey. Like it was a big um, feeling. It was an outsized level of significance given the kind of actual circumstances that I'm in. And so I was like, what's really going on here? And what has really showed up prominently over the last 24 hours or so is that there are certain emotions that, for whatever reason, even in the context of doing a fair amount of inner work and reflecting on what's going on within me, and really trying to be as objective as I can and see these parts of myself kind of bubble up from the subconscious into consciousness, and that process that so many of us do pretty regularly. There are still these areas that come up and that feel like they're a threat, in whatever form that takes. Sometimes, I can't really, in my own particular case, I wouldn't say that I've isolated that I feel that I'm either not allowed to feel them or that they might overwhelm me. I wouldn't say I've gotten to the bottom of that yet, but all I know is there are these emotions that feel sort of like they're a threat somehow. It's all well and good to look at your inner, psychic life and to be aware of your emotions, but these emotions are off limits. There's like still this inner taboo. So when I actually kind of get plunged there in some way, some unexpected way, when I get knocked into a state where I can't habitually repress them, I have to almost like start actively repressing them. It's like I go from being kind of in a passive state of repression into an active state of repression, and I have to now work to make sure they're not felt. And that is not a good feeling. And and the sort of like psychological and emotional activity, the way that I have to behave, even just complete. I mean, this is not like interaction with other human beings. I'm literally in a house alone, but my own inner behavior has to all of a sudden kind of prominently become evasive, and that makes me feel that justifies a feeling of, oh, I feel like I'm actually kind of off track here. I feel like I'm like the way that I normally rest into my center and remain really rooted in a kind of core sense of authenticity really kind of gets rattled by that, because when we're deliberately going out and kind of avoiding feeling certain things, it becomes an obvious feeling. It's something that I can't avoid the truth of that. Now, of course, I could choose to look away again and again and again and again, and sort of like really kind of go down the rabbit hole of avoidance, but that's not really happening because it's not what I want. You know, I know that's not what I want. It's just interesting to watch my mechanism kind of try to run that direction. And so, you know, again, this takes me back to how to be grateful for this circumstance, because if there are these parts of me that, even though I think I'm being open, I think I'm transparent to myself, but I'm shown, oh no, wait, you're not actually. There's still things that you very actively avoid. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to see that. Now, it's not fun. I wouldn't describe it as like a day at the park, but or a walk in the park. What's the expression? I'm clearly getting my metaphors mixed up today. But it's positive. It's a positive, because as soon as I embrace the truth, as soon as I actually sort of like just admit to myself, okay, I see what's going on here, that then immediately all I can feel is gratitude for the experience, because no matter how uncomfortable the experience may be, it's a revelation. It's a form of revelation. It's giving me new insight. And furthermore, it's telling me, here's how this works. You know, I mean, when I listen to Sadhguru talk about karma and the different types of yoga and the way that the different types of yoga progress through very, very consciously constructed phases of work, where our focus is on, first it's on the physical, then it moves into the mental, then it moves into the energetic, and corresponding elements of, you know, the fire element is the kind of first one, then it moves more into the air element, ether element. It's remarkable to me what a highly refined science of internal work that is. It truly is it's a science on the level of rocket science, but not devoted to building a physical thing that does something specific. But devoted to understanding and operating, engaging with the inner world, our inner cosmic psychic blueprint. It blows my mind. And so anytime I have a little nugget of insight show up, it's like it's teaching me. It's like I've learned another little detail about how this works, and that helps me it's like building a toolkit, building a skill set, building a craft. If life is an art, then this is the craft. This is the craftsmanship that we learn along the way. And that brings me instantly to a gratitude for it, and I can still be in it because I can tell I'm still kind of in the, I'm in the, I'd say I do feel like I'm moving out of it today. I do feel like I'm kind of getting to the other side of this, of the lull that I've been feeling. But I'm not totally through it, and I can tell that it's kind of like, this isn't just a lull that I'm supposed to get through. This is a moment of learning where I'm meant to receive something. And just, to summarize it, I guess, for myself, I would say that I'm just encouraging myself to really pay attention what happens when an emotion flashes in my body, because it happens so fast, right? I'll have a feeling of sadness or a feeling of pain or a feeling of whatever, but before I really feel it, or in the instant that I really start to feel it, something happens in my system, and it either gets transformed, it gets avoided, it activates a string of other feelings that then become the ones that I'm in the experience of those things rather than the thing that initiated the sequence. And all of it kind of amounts to, in some form, avoiding feeling that thing. And it's, takes me right back to places where, it makes me wonder, at least as a young person, what was the threat around this feeling? What was why this particular feeling? Because it's not like it's not like any of these emotions that I'm experiencing are objectively the worst thing in the world that any human being should at all costs want to avoid. It's very particular to me. It's the flavor of the emotion and the quality of emotion that I avoid is very specific to me. I know plenty of people who are fine feeling these things. So I'm really kind of, again, I'm decoding myself. It's my own kind of psychic blueprint that I'm working with here, and that I'm getting insight into. And so it's kind of a thrill. Once I let in that that's what the job is, and that's what's happening, it's kind of a thrill. And I think the most important thing I can offer myself right now, or anybody else who's in that place, is not to get tricked into thinking that I'm off track. That's the big thing. Because when you get tricked into thinking you're off track, that starts to build momentum. I'm not off track. I'm in a particular moment of a particular kind of learning, and it involves a little bit of destabilizing my normal day-to-day way of being on track. But that's okay. That's fine. Life is going to do that. The universe is big. Lots of stuff's going to happen. Rattling my sense of stability is part of this, part of what we're signed up for on this journey. So it's just good to be reminded of that. And it's nice to feel an affirmation of that in the way that things ultimately look if I really kind of just get still and allow and get still and get grateful and allow the moment to be what it is. So that's where I am today, people. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. So much love. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.